Okay, there.
Right.
This meeting is being recorded.
Just hit.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
I got it.
Okay. First thing I had to say is that the Walmart people are everywhere. There are too many things in the world to form opinions about and argue about and still not be able to do anything about, such as dog heaven involves your socks. End of poem. It's 6:30 a.m. I'm out of bed and fully dressed. There's something about this that runs against the natural order of things. End of poem. Alice and her goddamn rabbit hole ain't got shit on Kathy's mind. End of poem. Excuse me. This is so embarrassing, but who the fuck are you? This is called 1929. It just hit me. A lot of people who are dead now were alive back then. End of poem. There are some people who should have been on the Titanic. There are two things we all have in common, birth and death, except for those found under a suspicious rock. Some noses look like when they run, the run will run into their owner's mouth.
We have tissue for that issue.
Yes.
Do it or don't. There's no middle ground. End of poem. Sifting through my own bullshit with a fine-tooth comb. Now there's a project. Life had itself in store for me, and it delivered. And about the audience for my writing, you either like my shit or you don't. Not a damn thing I can or want to do about it. This is one that addresses current and past events. America should feel deep shame for itself. And the first clue is America doesn't have the first clue why. End of sentence. End of poem. Just saw dumb and oh my God. What's worse, they are blood relatives. God just texted me. Says I piss him off. Okay, there's a 10-second time delay on this shit. Opal, our greyhound, as in dog, has taken to barking at the spirits again. End of poem. It's night again. The moon and stars have been plucked from the sky, but there is quiet solitude, and that will have to do. It's called Center City. I'm 17 in Center City, lunchtime in the summer. Hundreds, if not thousands, of women strolling the streets, and right in front of my astonished eyes, the legs and calves of the century, accented by a tight skirt, also accenting the ass of the century. at 17 in Center City at lunchtime in the summer, seared into memory. End of poem. Okay, this is one that I've posted a couple of times. There were 1 or 2 dozen of us on the last breaths of the Beat generation. Point Pleasant, the Applejack Inn, New Hope, Lambertville, every venue therein, bars, restaurants, art galleries, even a church. My poem about a woman on a fire escape with rats running up her legs made Richie Cole, his alto sax, and his backup group groan. We had 4 or 5 years when the poetry sang it's on its own, mixed with jazz, mixed with art, mixed with people. A one time of living the kick-ass dream. End the poem. This is one for my grandfather, Joe Holt. My grandfather died alone in a chair, in a room, in a flop house on Skid Row. They buried his bones in a box, in a hole, in a graveyard, without a headstone. Decades after they buried his wife in the same hole. And now he's laughing because now she can't get away from him. Even on the headstone where they put his name next to hers. Okay. The heading for this reading, Exhuming the Monster. Let's see. What happened to bring the whole thing about was the convergence of 3 different things. They all intersected at once. One of them was I was going through some notebooks on my bookshelves and came across a bunch of stuff that I wrote back in 1970 and 1971. So I went through it, and one of the things that I found interesting was the poems that I wrote that I thought were poems were complete shit. But there were things that I wrote down that I went, that's a poem. So I transcribed those things. So that's one thing. And that came from 1970 and 1971. And then around the same time, I figured that there was a period of 16 years in my life that have gone relatively, or for the most part, unaddressed for most of my writing time. And that was my first marriage. My first wife had schizophrenia, which was a real fun experience for her and me. And I'd never really allowed myself to write my way through it. And then as I was working my way through that, I got a phone call from her sister telling me that she had died. So I had started doing this for the first time in 35 years in terms of writing it down. And while I'm doing it, she dies. So that's the third little thing. You got 3 different things that all come together at once that all have to do with similar time frames. At any rate, that's how this all came about. And one of the poems that I had written randomly has been requested by somebody that they wanted me to read tonight. And it's called Want to Write Something and Make Sure No One Ever Reads It. Put it in a book. End of poem. Now I'm going to give you a little taste of those three things. The first things that I'm going to give you a taste of are some of the things that I found in those notebooks. So everything I'm going to read to you right now goes back to 1970 and 1971. I'm going to do them in order of the way they showed up in the notebooks. First one, and none of them have titles. And oh, you know what? I just had an interesting thought. My cousin Joanne, who we've had a little difficulty getting to the readings in the past, is supposed to read a specific poem tonight. And of course, she's not here.
She's here now.
She's here.
She's here.
She just joined 5 minutes ago.
And this is exactly the way it happened the last fucking time. What the fuck? Hey, lady, where are you?
I thought it said, I thought the 400 emails you sent out said 7:30.
In other words,
I-
forget about reading comprehension. You can't read it all.
I know and the older I get, the worse it gets. It's true.
And
And I
that's hard to believe. All right, so you're here now?
I am. Yeah.
And do you have the fucking poem there?
I have the fucking poem right here.
All right, well, hold on to it. I'm not ready for that yet.
Oh,
But we will hear the fucking poem, I hope.
Okay, did you, Miss Joanne, did you hear any of what I just said before you got on?
She heard it all, right, Joanne? You heard it all.
every word of it.
She only missed the 4 minutes and fuck 'em part, but we didn't even get that on the recording. Now we do, but yeah.
I'll like watch it on rerun.
Oh, yes, you will. Under some kind of penalty. I haven't figured out what it is yet. Okay, the first one I found in the notebook was De Sade was a chronicle of American dreams. And 2, I wonder if Coke bottles will ever change. Three, I hope to regain some things that slipped by me unnoticed or suppressed because they were difficult or unpleasant. I would choose to taste them now and find the flavor of myself. 4, you are collage. You are inside kaleidoscope. Your eyes are prisms of glass. You are daughter to the earth. Rain clouds kiss your forehead. Evening stars settle in your hair. 5, I followed the big white bird of what I believe, and he has been eaten by the mob of black birds sitting on the fence as we drove by. 6, compiled portions of my post-marital relationships 4 months after getting married. 7, it's getting to be that time again to retreat, implode, to do something important, right or wrong. Number 8, my madness is simple. I must write and cannot be constrained. Number 9, I only actually write when I just talk on paper. 10, roses fall, petals wilt, seasons change in thundering silence. Number 11, I watch 100 starlings scatter in frantic flight like men overtaken by history. Number 12. My chronology is off. Can't remember which came first, Thursday or the Wednesday before. "13. There is little more disappointment left in the universe than to look directly into a freshly cleaned mirror and see nothing. 14. Am I going too fast?
Mm-mm.
No,
All right. 14. How strange, the two of us sitting at a lunch counter with nothing to say to each other. We depend on the idle chatter of waitresses to fill the air. 15. A classroom filled with children on a sunny day is the emptiest place in the world. 16. A death in spring is twice as horrible. 17. Jelly-assed and shaking naked as a bird's eye, the world shivers constantly in the poverty of its own fat. Well, this isn't working. There it is. Okay. Number 18. Spoke to a young man. Told me he was Catholic. Told him I used to be a Catholic. He sold me 15 pounds of grace for 30 cents. 19. A worrisome queen of seaweed, a real pain in the ass, always babbling on about astrology and some other mind-numbing shit like that, nauseum infinitum, ad infinitum. Number 20, I could hear the smell of flesh, of perspiration, salt, and sand crashing against the concrete city sidewalk, red brick houses, and traffic lights. Number 21, lay silent and still and listen to the night. Yes, dear.
It might rain today, but it might not. Okay, it's not raining yet, but it could start raining at any time or not.
Yeah? That's
You told
supposed
me
to
to
be.
read that.
What happened to the weather alerts?
Oh, that was your line.
All right. Some would say you're incorrigible. I say it's simply impossible. All right. Well, this isn't very much fun at all. Okay. I am like herpes and malaria. Just when you think you've gotten rid of me, guess who's coming to dinner? She said to me, "Is this normal?" I smiled at her. Not even close. Ain't that great? Unbecoming. Yep. Look it up. That's me. The Greyhound, Kathy's daughter, Opal, is downstairs having nightmares of me smiling at her. End of poem. Mistakes provide the building blocks for learning. Their scars provide the depth and texture of our painting. Just had a pleasant thought. Don't worry, I just crushed the fucker. Did I ever tell you about the time I was at work and thought I farted? But it wasn't a fart. It was a shart. And I had to drive all the way home to change my pants.
It was so short.
TMI.
I know.
See that one.
And Joanne was eating.
Timing's everything, and hers sucks. Okay, this is called confidential announcement. The third and final inter-self debate between Al Ferber's fragmented selves will be held on the Sand Dunes in Ocean City, New Jersey. Special guest moderator will be Sigmund Freud wearing sunglasses. The losers will be tied to a stake and served medium rare. All in attendance are welcome. Bring your own fork. End of poem. There was a time when I thought I knew a few things. Then I married Kathy, who showed me the error of my ways. It's official. The white hair has defeated the gray hair in the battle of my facial hair, and I'm pissed. End of poem. Okay, I think it was during the first reading, first or second, where I read reviews of some of my books. I don't know if any of you remember that.
Yeah.
No? Yes?
I think-
Maybe.
All right, you can all go fuck yourselves. This was my best personal review. She told me straight up, "You're the craziest son of a bitch I've ever met, and I never want to see you again." You can't beat that with a six.
Nice. That's impact right
I-
there.
I'm proud of that one.
That is some serious impact.
Yes, I did leave a mark. Probably still in counseling.
After that shirt, it might be a skid mark.
It's a shart, my dear. It's a cross between a shit and a fart. In the beginning of the night after last night, in the beginning of the night before tomorrow night, my question to you is, how much is a round trip ticket from Trenton to New York? That may or may not ever catch up to you. Okay, this is a redo of an old one. It's called 1969. I was approached on campus by an exotic-looking brown-eyed girl who called herself Sweet Chariot, with eyes that were dreaming about something I didn't want to know about. She invited herself back to my apartment, and for some inexplicable reason, I took her there. We smoked a few roaches from the bottom of an ashtray and listened to my collection of Glenn Miller records for hours. End of poem. That's one of the ones that you thought was going to be dirty, right? No?
I did.
Fuck you, lady.
I was more worried about the Glenn Miller records.
Did you really have Glenn Miller records?
Hell no. I did not.
Okay.
I love Glenn Miller.
Well,
Yeah,
Is it?
there are people who will talk to you about that.
I'm sure.
I had my mother's collection.
Absolutely.
of 70.
You did. And what did you do with them?
I have them here right next to me in this closet.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, I don't have,
Or you had?
I don't have a record player.
Oh, well, then they're not going to wear out any more than they were before.
Right.
Not,
Okay,
Back
this
when
is,
string of pearls just meant string of pearls. Good tune.
yes, that's true. That's true. All right, I just shit myself again. This called Jim T. Feet up on his desk, reading the New York Times, leaning back in his chair, smoking a cigar. Jim T said to me, "Slow down, kid. You're making the rest of us look bad." End of poem. Okay, it was late at night or early morning, depending on your way of looking at such things. Anyway, I was listening to the moon glow, the grass grow, and the paint dry. End of poem. Yeah, okay. This is called The Letter. I just got a letter, and this is true. I just got a letter from the New Jersey Division on Aging Services, providing me with instructions on how to get old. End of poem. I'm still studying them.
takes a lifetime.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, the old lady woke from a coma, singing in French and demanding to hear her favorite Janis Joplin album. End of poem. Some folks travel to see the world. I sit in one place and experience an entire universe of love in a single shared glance. Okay. Where are we? Holy fuck. Paul,
Hi, Baxter.
Yeah,
I like that.
you want to read something?
yeah,
Okay.
okay, here I go. This is, the first one is from the Manglezine, and you called it Concepts. And I think you put your finger on the source of all our suffering in this one. Gus said he once conceptualized something, and it bit him in the ass. The rabid dog of thought, which he is now convinced is a ruthless, congenital, degenerative disease, causes headaches, leads to anxiety, frustration, confusion, depression. It's his contention that nothing good can come from it. Thought is the bastard son of the devil muse all you want. Daydream, watch your own historical or fantasy movies in your head. Let the music play, sing the words, dance with Ginger Rogers, Elizabeth Taylor, or Dolly Parton, or a million other things to be done with the brain to provide endless moments of entertainment. But thinking, stay the fuck away from it. And then the next one is also from a recent Mangazine, Human Consciousness. Gus said he saw and heard the man on TV exclaim, "Isn't human consciousness amazing?" And Gus thought, what a crock of shit. We got a planet full of emotionally stunted, blunted, and twisted, neurotic, psychotic, bipolar, schizophrenic, sociopathic, maniacal, homicidal, pedophilic, sadistic, masochistic, egotistical, pedantic, psychopathic, greedy, heartless, fucked up motherfuckers. What's so fucking amazing about that?
Gus!
And
I like that one.
I like that one.
I like
And-
that one.
That was a good
That
read.
one reminded me so much of a John Lennon song that I wanted to read the John
Oh.
Lennon song, if that's all right.
Yeah.
Called Just Give Me Some Truth. I'm sick and tired of hearing things from uptight, short-sighted, narrow-minded hypocritics. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. I've had enough of reading things by neurotic, psychotic, pig-headed politicians. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. I'm sick to death of seeing things from tight-lipped, condescending mama's little chauvinists. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. I've had enough of watching scenes of schizophrenic, egocentric, paranoid prima donnas. All I want is the truth now. Just give me some truth. No short-haired, yellow-bellied son of Tricky Dickie's gonna Mother Hubbard soft soap me with just a pocket full of hope. It's money for dope. It's money for rope. All I want is the truth. Just give me some truth. So did you see how that would remind me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And after all that ranting, I always like it. I always like it when there's a turnaround. It's like everything is fucked up, people are insane, but, and here's the turnaround. And just written, called Bliss, Dreams, and Misery, I guess from Mangazine also in October. October 21, written a year ago. Gus was struck by the notion that one moment of bliss is worth this journey, one pleasant dream worth this perilous trek. A star bringing a speck of light in the huge blackness of the universe is worth everything. He's had a small collection of those moments of heaven and mistakenly grieved their loss instead of joyously celebrating the fact that they existed at all. Hear, hear.
Hey.
Excellent. Al, you should hire him to do an audio book of all your poems.
What's that?
A positive poem from Al.
Holy moly.
They are there, you just gotta look.
And now it's getting deep.
Yeah. Bring a shovel and an earth mover. Yes.
Weather report.
Weather alert.
It's
Weather alert.
cloudy.
You're
Quick,
supposed to
somebody
say
call
weather alert.
911.
It sucks John Lennon's gone. He would have aged well. He would have been still doing cool things. He would have set Paul straight still.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It would just be really cool if that dude was still around.
Mm.
Agree.
Oh, is it my turn? Oh, excuse me. Okay. It's called This Guy. This guy walks into a bar, orders a 6-pack of Bud, no dice. Miller, No dice. Pabst, no dice. What do you have in six packs? Valentine. Then give me 2 quarts of Bud. Miller, Pabst, no dice. Only Valentine. That's right. Didn't you see the sign outside this place? The Valentine Beer Bar. End of poem. The worst part is she gets me and I get her, and there's no way out. End of poem. All boils down to a patch quilt without patches. End of poem. Trying to put the pieces of a jigsaw puzzle of my own making together in some form of coherence out of complete incoherence, an impossible challenge, the likes of which I put in front of myself with alarming regularity. End of poem. Like Jonah, I hope the whale don't spit me out. End of poem. Giovanni put on his new Argyle socks and promptly dropped over dead. End of poem. Okay. Okay. It's called Castle Keep. In my waning years, I'm digging an uncrossable moat around my precious castle of dreams. My sparkling diamonds found in the rough, the distinctive markers in an otherwise turbulent life, beacons of light shining through the black abyss, all of them saving grace, unexpected moments of joy. They will be protected, they will be preserved, if for no other reason than they're sacred to me. They're mine forever, and I will make it so. Well, that's almost positive. I shouldn't have read it. It came dangerously close to being positive.
You could have handed it off to Paul.
I could have, but I don't know what hit
I hope
me.
you're not getting sentimental on us then.
Senile mental. Okay, I find these things vexing, but then I find everything vexing, or in the broom closet. End the poem. That might have a 20, 30-minute hang time on it. No, it's still wandering around the fucking room. Okay, let's see here. Weather lady, you got the forecast for us?
Yeah. Ready?
No.
Welcome to the Whether or Not weather forecast, whether you like the weather or not. Today's weather seems to have lost interest in doing anything interesting for the time being. And later today, it seems ambivalent about that as well. So fuck that shit for now. More at 11.
Be dippy weather girl.
Just dippy. Okay. This is called I Remember. I remember attending a reading outside of No Hope by a guy they must have dusted off and dragged out of the basement. They treated him like a relic in a museum, out of touch and ready for the dumpster heap. Now I realize he was just another old fuck like me. This is a Judge Judy poem. Judy said children were put on this earth to upset their parents. It's part of their manifesto. End of poem.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
This is called Life is So Short, Go Fuck Yourself. Okay? Life is so short, go fuck yourself. End of poem. Supermoons available. 12 months, 365 days a year. You want one? I got one for you. End of poem. Gratitude. Got lots of it, but humans are still my least favorite species. Okay. Found myself combative the last 2 weeks. Don't know whether different things are working on my subconscious or what. Anyway, don't sit next to me on the bus. End the poem. Okay. I'm going to read you some from the group of poems that's going to be in the book called Winter Solstice. And they're about my experiences and my wife's experiences with the schizophrenia. This is a caution. If you decide to help someone, you better know what the fuck you're doing. It's called Blue Madonna. Without flowers in her hair, it was an odd piece of prophecy. Saw a painting of a blue woman who was broken with a misshapen hand. He was drawn to it for a reason he could not explain. She bought it for him as a wedding present. Turned out, 7 years later, it was a painting of her, broken, far beyond repair. Is called Flashbacks Can Be Lethal. Not long before the mushroom cloud took form, she left a letter for him on the kitchen table. Its contents were as clear and honest as anything has ever been clear and honest. And I was too thick-headed until death do us part minded to accept what was a monumental ass saving offer. That was a letter that her telling me that for this, that, and the other reason she was going to leave and the marriage should be over. And that was about 1 or 2 years before the schizophrenia took off like a rocket. And she was offering me an out, and I, like a fucking idiot, didn't take it. So let's see. Joanne. Joanne?
Yes,
Earth to fucking Joanne.
right here.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's good.
And her assistant.
And my assistant, he's going to read the first part and I'll read the second part. Al actually wrote 2 versions of this poem and gave me the creative freedom to decide which one I wanted to read. And this is the one I chose. It's the longer one because I wanted more airtime. It's called
Well, you could have read the other one 2 or 3 times.
it's called The Lunch Brunch, A Waiter's View. It was the 80s. It was Monday. It was Tangier Cafe, 18th and Lombard, directly across from the ER entrance to Graduate Hospital. It was lunchtime. The place was empty. The front door opened just beyond the fish tank. The lunch bunch entered. 10 relatively young men of good humor. They would become my Monday lunch bunch regulars for some weeks to come. They were AIDS patients, there for experimental therapy. What they knew and what I knew about AIDS, HIV, were not dissimilar, almost nothing other than it kills. I had a moment of pure panic after I took their order and went back to the kitchen. Serve them their meal and throw the plates away, then stick my hands in the deep fryer. Finally, I swallowed my tongue, my brains, and my rattled emotions and said, fuck it, they're human beings. Took myself by the seat of my pants, served them their food, and got to know them. They were to also become the human incarnation of the second verse of the 10 Little AIDS Victims song. As the weeks passed, the disease claimed them, one at a time, taking at first the thinnest of slices off the edges of their humor, faith, hope, trust in anything or anyone, but still holding on to what was left of each other. 9, 8, 7. They sat wondering which of them would be next. 6, 5. The humor dried up like the hard clay bottom of a riverbed. The mood somber. 4, 3. Until their numbers were reduced to 2. They sat silent, looking everywhere but at each other. That was the last I saw of any of them. Oddly enough, they were the only people who came in for lunch on those Mondays until the last of the Indians were gone.
So that's the one you picked.
No,
Okay.
Good job.
Thank you, Joanne.
you're welcome.
Very nice.
Okay. Oh, so we go, oh, well, this was a royal fuck up on my part. We go from one devastating disease back to another. One of the more charming talents this particular demon bestows on its victims is an uncanny ability to alienate family, friends, and other loved ones. Got to reading every piece of information and ask anyone I knew who might know anything about the bastard demon in a frantic effort to learn what was happening to her and its effect on her, what treatments were available, prognosis, and things I should and could do to be supportive of her, to cope in general. What I found were descriptions and behaviors, shit prognoses, shit treatments, and plenty of conflicting opinions. In other words, grim. Only light at the end of this tunnel was an oncoming train. It was during that time my mother gave me a necklace of the praying Hanes with the serenity prayer on the back, which I immediately misunderstood and put that misunderstanding into practice, trying to put an end to the demon that was eating her and us alive. The misguided, emotional suicide mission at best. Okay, this is one, two, three. This is a three-part thing. This is part one. They held impromptu trials whenever she was in town. Accused her of being a shameless immoralist. Of course, she protested vociferously. Of course, they ignored her protestations, convicted her out of hand, sentenced her to a lifetime of banishment and penitence, stripped her naked, dragged her to a rectory for intense tongue lashings. Number two, she was an ardent advocate of fair treatment of children, something the village elders found blasphemous, tortured her with unrelenting white light until the pupils of her eyes became permanently dilated, rubbed ground glass in her palms, and unleashed fire ants on her legs. Number three, this was the month of human sacrifice. The demon decided it was her turn at the witch's stake, creeped from behind, grabbed her by the throat, throttled her, shook her senseless till her brains seeped out through her ears, dripped blood on the sidewalk, growled in her mouth, promised he would never leave. He would never let her rest, never have a lingering smile again if he had a fucking thing to say about it. End the poem.
I think we need a weather report.
Do we have a weather alert yet?
We need
That's
something,
what you're supposed to
a
say
break
through the whole
from that.
fucking thing, and you haven't said it yet.
What? Oh, breaking news. Weather alert. Is that what you wanted?
I just hung myself. Don't ask me anything.
Well, the sun is finally where it belongs. Down.
At last.
No, that word is not there.
It was never there, but it is now. And it's not one word, it's two, for Christ's sake.
Forecast for tonight is dark.
Well,
With periods of light towards morning.
The last one. That's in the last one.
well, organizing that was a complete fucking catastrophe.
Well done.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go back to the more humorous shit. She told him the nuns told her she was the Virgin Mary. She tried to tell them, Mary's my middle name. I'm not Mary, and I'm not a virgin. But the nuns forced upon her an electric crown of thorny flowers, despite her denial of their outrageous claims, made him promise to keep the nuns away from her. She pointed to the 16-year-old boy on the alarmingly co-ed ward who thought he was Mick Jagger, who often got excited, who she claimed was an unspoken method she spoke of her parents, her grandparents, who worked in the cafeteria. She was certain that one of her younger sisters was at high risk of falling into the crosshairs of the hysterical nuns, made him promise to pass on the warning. She also told him to warn her sister about the dangers of the light. She told him about the big room with the grand piano where a concert pianist would come to play when the stress of of concert tours got too much for her. End of poem. Okay. What I'm going to read now are a few of the, if you want to call them rants, that she would go on when she was actually in a full psychotic state. The children know what love is, but they don't know how dangerous it can be, how it can turn into hate and burn the light out of you. Because the children are so innocent, they eat the candy and the poison apples. They don't know any better because no one tells them, no one protects them, no one is there to save them. The sin is heaped upon them without their knowing. That's the work of the secreters. She said, how does it feel to be married to a self-inflicted schizophrenic? The disease had ripped her to shreds, got between us, and tore us to shreds, unable to distinguish each other from the disease. Now that she's no longer with us. Okay, that I shouldn't have read. Okay, this is another one where she was in the midst of a psychotic break. Ooh, it's too hot. Get it away from me. It's burning my skin. Save the children. I'm not the Virgin Mary. They want to put the crown on me. Tell your father to stop them. You can't stop them. They'll listen to your father. Oh, it's hot. It's burning. My sister is being burned, and we can't save her. Time's running out. Pull the alarm, but don't let them know. If they find out, you'll be in trouble. Hugh and Miriam know the light. I saw them perform. The light lives in their eyes. They know the life and the death of it. They know the trouble when the light gets too bright, the trouble it causes, the lives it takes. They know they have to protect the children. The children are innocent. They haven't sinned. They haven't had to sleep. They haven't to sleep with and eat their sins. Their time will come soon enough. She told him, your father knows about the light. You can see it in his eyes. He knows it's a white light, too bright. It will blind you. It's too light. Your father knows. One of the things in putting this together is I kept trying to like put it in a chronological order. And then I realized that the disease doesn't have a chronology. And that when you're in the middle of it, whatever chronology you think you have, it doesn't exist. It's an illusion. And let's see, who do we got? Hop. Hop?
Yeah, that does
Yeah.
require me to unmute myself, but that can be
Oh,
done.
yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that.
So, no, perfectly fine. You scared the cat, but that's
Oh,
fine.
well, I usually
he's-
do.
So I've got a few. I might have actually read this one before. So when I say stop me if you've heard this before, I really do mean stop me if you've heard this before, because you may have. It's on YouTube somewhere,
that
if
up.
I have, I guess so. So if you heard it, summoning my inner Al Ferber, if you've heard this before, you're gonna hear it again, whether you want to or not. So, okay, this one is about white perversity. It's called The Spade Comic. So you'd remember if you heard this again. So if you're looking at me blankly, you probably haven't. Okay, The Spade Comic. We laughed at him when he exposed our flaws. We got down on the dance floor. We got down on all fours. We did the dog. We did the freak. We did the freaking dog the whole damn night. We broke out in song. We broke the law. We never really understood him at all. End of poem.
Cool. We never heard that before.
Okay, well, now you have. Just have a few other short ones, a few of which do not have titles. Okay, you scared one cat, you've got the other one now. Jim Morrison was not the only one who was rueful of the Western dream. End of poem. This one is timely to the extent that I have tried to. It's not about the Phillies, but I have tried to read poems that memorialize the passing of great Americans. So along those lines, this is called "We're All the Same." This was written many years ago, but it is timelier now. We're all the same. My stulios smell like Coolios. End of poem. So that goes with the short too. So it'll be lingering around the room for, with some of your other poems for the next hour or so. Okay, last poem. I will close out with a little strapless number. This is called Strapless Number. Was it something I never said to the person you never were that denied me the night before enchanted morning, the breathlessness of borrowed time, a dance with you in a strapless number made of hollow words I could never touch when I took the forced march home? End of poem. End of
Cool.
reading from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
What's that? Is that Santa Claus?
I hear a weather alert.
Weather alert. And now it is raining. Whose idea was that?
Mine. Okay. This is one that I wrote after Hop read the one about we're gonna all of us eventually winds up in Detroit. I don't know if any of you remember that, but I do.
I hardly remember it.
Huh?
I
You
said
remember?
I hardly remember it.
All right. Well, that's progress. It's called Broken Town. The Motor City ain't making cars, no motors anymore. Just acres of abandoned factories, empty land where houses and neighborhoods used to be. The city's gone bankrupt, lost more than half its population. Children go to schools that are hardly open. The rest are scraping the depths of existence, making a living. Young bucks on the corner pushing powder, heroin, or crack. Bars are above ground, bomb shelters, doors open at 7 in the morning. Blues bands play for tips in the afternoon. Females peddle flesh, resorting to wearing dollar store tank tops and miniskirts. End of poem. It's called Rare Condition. Gus said, he is afflicted with a rare condition. He cannot hear the silence that usually accompanies the death of good friends. He can still hear their smiles, their wordless presence, their roaring laughter at reading his twisted thoughts. Okay, this is a short one. I'm a very kind person. The question is, what kind? This is a question and an answer. You're in a good mood, you're delusional. End of poem. Now, this goes to one of the poems that Paul read. Effective meditation equals eradication of conscious thought. End. And then this goes with another one that Paul read. Think? I don't think so. What a day for volleyball, digging in the garden, finding small dead animals, and feeding them to the dog. End of poem. Hey, I'll say it one last time. I'm only going to say this once. I'll repeat that. Hey, I'll say it one last time. I'm only going to say this once. This. End of poem. Judy said, don't look at me like I'm crazy. Your daughter is crazy. End of poem. We know about the fragility of life. Existence, a whole other story. Okay, this is the last poem. It's called The End. The end is always more interesting than the beginning. Not pretty, but interesting. End of reading. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Go ahead, bitch.
This one is dedicated to Larry
Oh.
because he mentioned it before. I have a feeling It's gonna be dark all night. The end.
All right, boys and girls, this has been a real pressure.
It's good seeing
I won't-
everybody.
So I won't have
Yeah,
time
nice
to
seeing
do
you.
my 6-hour poem tonight.
Yeah, you can start reading as soon as we go off the air.
Thank you, thank you. Hey, Paul, great job on your reads.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it very much.
Yeah.
Great job.
You're unmuted.
Great house poem as well, Julian. Good to see you, Kat. Good to see you, Harm.
Good to see you.
Good seeing you.
Hey, Al, we gotta set up luncheon for December.
Oh, okay. All right, will do.
You think about
Will there be a holiday reading?
it?
Well,
Al and Christmas reading, perfect.
Full of holiday cheer.
Oh, so much.
you've heard of the movie Scrooged? You've heard of the movie Scrooged?
Yes.
How about
I'll tell you,
How
that
about
would be a
Christmas
precious
fuck?
gift.
That it sounds good. That's a wonderful title.
if you want a holiday
Al
reading,
Ferber,
have
our
a holiday
precious gift.
reading.
You have at least 2 new fuck poems to write out of this.
Barking at the spirits.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi.
Al Goes Christmas.
All right, I'll let you know.
Gus put the us in Christmas.
Gus put the us in Christmas.
Okay, I like that.
Oh, man, nice.
Oh, boy. You guys
Very
are
nice.
living dangerously.
A lot of great eating.
Just imagine the toes that you could step on.
You know what? I'm in. All in. I'm gonna do a Christmas reading. I don't
Okay.
know whether I'll do it before or after Christmas.
Mhm.
And everything I'm gonna read is gonna be written for that reading.
Okay.
Okay?
We're in.
Okay.
All right.
So there are 3 of us.
Well, I'll be
No
there.
bah humbug.
And you're
No
gonna
bah
stay,
humbug.
you're gonna stay up for 2 weeks straight writing it.
Yes.
The week before.
That's a good idea.
Well,
Great.
I'll stay up for a night and write all of it.
All right, y'all.
On a roll.
Bye.
Bye.
Night.